Today is the 9th day of August 2020 in Dundastan, Abaco, Bahamas, where we are on official lockdown, but many people don't take it serious. I saw, I can call the name, I can't call their names because I know them so well. People came in on the plane from United States. The same day that they were supposed to be locked down when coming in, I saw them on the line in the supermarket. I asked them, how could this be? They said, what you worrying about? We got tested before we came to America. Neither person on this Maxwell food line has been tested. I said, but the rules are that you're supposed to be locked away until such time. They said, to hell with locked away. I got to eat. Eat I will. So they're on the line. Nobody is following no rules here in Abaco. And that is why Kai comes to camera to try to educate. Kai Mills, just like the person that were brave enough to record George Floyd incident that caused the world to say enough is enough. I was such a brave little fella that saw what the government was doing 1 month ago. The government made sure that there were nobody at the Leonard Thompson International Airport when they were trying to sneak these Mexicans in. There was no car there. It was like a ghost town. But somebody alerted me because they know that I'm fearless and I will try to get the story. So when I went there, they had the door locked. Bahamas Air on the ground, and I saw these little 4-foot, 5-foot slick-haired Mexicans coming through. So, unable to get the shot, I wait until they had to let one of the Baker's Bay people in, and I slipped in when he slipped in. And when the authority figures saw me slipped in there with my camera, all of them tried to stop me from filming. But you see, they didn't want to come to camera. So my camera is like a gun. When I put this camera in their face, it's a different attitude. And I alerted the world, the Bahamas and indeed Abaco, 1 month ago, that if these people come in here and they weren't tested, it's going to be an escalation of COVID-19 in Abaco. We were bragging, happy that something positive is happening in Abaco. And the positive thing that was happening is that there were absolutely zero COVID-19 case in Abaco before Dr. Livingston Marshall, the most honorable Prime Minister, through his underhand dealing with Baker's Bay and trying to secure the $25 million deal that him and Brent Simonet secured, awarding themselves contract, self-dealing, greed is what's caused this escalation of COVID-19 in the country. You see, I already said, Dr. Livingston Marshall is dirty, so red and buying up his lips. That's from kissing the back behind of these investors in Baker's Bay. He's been brown-nosing for 12 years, using his position as a Negro slave to enrich the oligarchies. It has never campaign about Bahamians with Dr. Livingston Marshall. That is why he could pay radio to get on radio and said to the Bahamas and the world that Bahamians are some of the laziest, whitelistest, wakest in the history of mankind. This is how Dr. Livingston Marshall described Bahamian workers on Baker's Bay. They are still disgruntled. How is it that these little 5-foot Mexicans could outwork the Mandingos of the Bahamas? It is impossible. Black workers have built the world. They didn't look for no Mexicans. They looked for the black Mandingos of Africa to put in the slave trade. Mexican was never the workforce of the world. They were always black men. Somebody need to let Dr. Livingston Marshall know that. That is black workers that built Baker's Bay. These Mexicans that are here only because of greed and the cheap labor. Period. Neither one of them could outwork no Negro in Baker's Bay. And what are their specialty? They're shoveling sand, cleaning down cabinets. The fellas over there afraid to take pictures and let the world know that these guys are not any specialists. Any Bahamian can do what they're doing in Baker's Bay, but they're not going to do it for the price that Dr. Livingston Marshall and Baker's Bay negotiated with. Because of Dr. Livingston Marshall, we have a problem. I remembered the one time that Darren Henfield was at a meeting when K. Forbes Smith brought a meeting to the Friendship Tabernacle Church, and Bishop Samuel Cornish asked Darren Henfield, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is a lieutenant, who is a minister in this weightless FNM government, and also as a preacher. There's another preacher dialoguing with him with Kai Mills Preston. And Bishop Samuel Cornish asks the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Darren Henfield, are there any Mexicans in Baker's Bay? Are you guys gonna be employing or bringing Mexican in? Because you are the Minister of Foreign Affairs. You have to negotiate with the Mexican authorities to bring their citizen into the Bahamas. Darren Henfield said to Bishop Samuel Cornish, in the Church of the Living God, in Friendship Tabernacle, that there's absolutely no Mexicans in Baker's Bay. And to his knowledge, he could assure Bishop Samuel that there will be no Mexicans coming to Baker's Bay. This is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Darren Henfield, lying under oath in the Church Friendship Tabernacle. How could we, as Abaconian, respect that? I remember that so clearly. And they got into it. Bishop Samuel said, there are Mexicans. He heard that there are hundreds are coming. And just what he perceived to have happened has happened. How could Bishop Samuel Cornish know more about the in-dealing of this weightless, no-good FNM government than Darren Henfield, who's a Minister of Foreign Affairs? It's obvious that Darren has been lying. And how could we trust a lying MP? The only meeting that he attended with that white-haired K. Forbes Smith that only in it for the money. She don't have an inkling, one single inkling on how to rebuild Abaco. Nor does she respect Abaco to know what to do. And look who's on the board for Abaco. These people are on the board. You think they give a hell about Abaco? It's all about the recognition and the money. The hell with Abaco and Abaconian. It's obvious. How long has the authority board has been formed for Grand Bahama and Abaco? What has been priority to date? Who are they speaking to in Abaco? All they have done is promise 46 homes by Bakers Bay, and Darren Henfield has promised 220 igloos for the Negroes of Abaco. So in essence, in about 4 months, we'll look like we're in Alaska for the first black Alaskans or Eskimos. The first black Eskimo in the history of the Caribbean is being produced in their hometown of Dundastan with all these igloos. And as I started in the beginning, because of the underhanded dealing of our Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. Hubert Minnis, and the under-crooked dealing of Dr. Livingston Marshall, we now have over 30 or 40 cases of COVID-19 in Bakers Bay proper. And when it's the government got to do their own assessment of Bakers Bay rather than letting Bakers Bay, Peter Whalen and Jay Miller. Why would Jay Miller, Peter Whalen, Joe Ball, and these people be representing the government in testing of these Mexicans? Why is Bakers Bay slave ship is continuing to go to Bakers Bay when the escalation of COVID-19 continually to go out of WAP in Bakers Bay? When is the incompetent authority gonna shut that key down before we have 600 cases like elsewhere? Because of Dr. Livingston Marshall and the Prime Minister of this country, we now in Abaco went from 0 a month ago before the Mexican came in, and now we are the 3rd largest inheritor of COVID-19 by these Mexicans that work so well, according to Dr. Livingston Marshall. And they work it so well all over that island like a bunch of ants to try to kill the Bahamian. What happened to the worker that got COVID-19 from Sandy Point? He probably could never go back to Bakers Bay. But they have these little Mexicans stored away in comfort, air conditioned, 3 meals a day in Bakers Bay. What happened to the Negro in Sandy Point and his family? Did Dr. Livingston Marshall giving them the same type of red carpet treatment? Have Dr. Livingston Marshall called this young man and his family after he directly have caused them to get COVID-19? Is he taking care of their medical bill? Well, this young man just need a good lawyer and some money to pay the lawyer, and he has a lawsuit, a great lawsuit on his hand towards Bakers Bay and Dr. Livingston Marshall. It's one of these Kai Care video on the 9th day of August 2020, where the Prime Minister of the country and Dr. Livingston Marshall has caused the escalation of COVID-19 in my birthplace of Abaco, Bahamas. Kai Case.